yes.
Are you sure you want to start live streaming the event? Okay, I'm gonna hit and we're gonna go.
Maybe. Okay.
I got the notification showing you guys are live.
Big mood. Big mood. We have begun.
Big mood.
Welcome back to the Brandonless Room Arcade.
Man, here we go.
I am Logan, the wonderful Loggy Doves. To the, I think this
direction
is to
of
the
you.
left. The left of me. We have a guest. We have David, aka ConMenRDW on
Hashtag
YouTube.
burst into the break room.
Yes.
King K. Rules
Or at-
smash into the break room.
Or at Mario Party Animal on Twitter. And as always, on the bottom, we got our good friend Paul Anderson at Gunnysource on Twitter. And welcome to the Nintendo Stuff Podcast, episode 9. As you can see behind me, I did quite a bit of work dressing up my set because I am actually not at my apartment. I am at my parents' house. So if we hear any rummaging over this way, not that you would hear it directionally, it's siblings and maybe a baby might appear at some point. Hopefully
so it's exactly what I said the
because-
first time. Gotcha.
Right, exactly. So, a few things have happened this week. A few things that that are really cool, and a few things that are a little bit disappointing. But before we get into that, we are going to do... I'm just going to ask David over here.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
We talked a little bit beforehand, and we got to know each other a little bit. But I'm just going to give you a minute to talk about what you do, and what you love to do, and where people can check you out if they already don't know.
Oh man, hashtag shameless plug time. Okay, so my name is David. I am the host on the channel ConMenRDW on YouTube. I do different video game videos, anime videos. I go to conventions and different events in the Chicagoland area. And I just love geeky and nerdy things. And also I love Nintendo, which is why I'm here on the Break Room podcast with Loggy and Paul over here. So thanks for having me on, guys. For sure.
Yeah, we're
Sorry it took us so long to get you on here.
Yeah.
Oh no, man, it's all good. It's all good.
Especially
I love hanging out in the chat.
It's nice to have a third member on the chat, considering that Brandon is indisposed again, I think for the same reason as he was last week.
Yeah, it's the exact same reason.
Yeah. So Brandon, we miss you. We know he's not watching.
But we filled the
he's a very
void.
busy
You've been
boy.
replaced.
Hey man, the fact that you guys can still go live even missing somebody is just an achievement within itself. Some people can't even do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start out. We're gonna open up our favorite. You posted. Usually we post this stuff in Asana, and then now that you posted it in the doc, I'm like,
it's an extra click to open the links.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm trying to open this. What? Okay.
Click on it, then click on the link underneath.
Okay. So, starting out for this week from the Super Smash Bros. Blog, we have a character. Paul, if you want to take this, or unless you don't,
fam.
okay.
There's first one we got this week is Ness on the 26th. Today's fighter, Ness. Ness has a variety of moves from long-range attacks using psychic powers, because I can't read, known as PSI, to short-range attacks with his bat and yo-yo. Ness can unleash PK Thunder, a guided attack that can launch him like a rocket to help him recover.
Yeah. So, he's pretty much unchanged. A lot of these characters, obviously unchanged. We didn't want to see any of these some of these characters changed. Ness is one that definitely didn't need changed, considering he was the OG Earthbound character.
They did actually make one change to him that I like a whole lot as a person who can't play as Ness. specifically because of that recovery. But they added a little arrow to indicate if you knock it into him where he will go.
Oh, they have like a trajectory arrow now. That's
Yeah.
handy.
Okay, so it's a little bit just more
my butt.
information to help you. What's the word I'm looking for? Execute the move better. More accurately.
I also watched a video recently showing the comparisons of his old like PK effects versus the new ultimate PK effects. He is dazzling now. Like it's beautiful watching him do his moves now. It's crazy.
Yeah,
the whole game
nice
is
effects that went on.
Next up, on the 27th, we have Rathalos, the assist trophy.
Yay!
To everybody's, just an assist trophy. But maybe we're going to get Monster Hunter at a certain point as a playable character? Maybe?
Mm-hmm. We better. I mean, I can understand why Rathalos isn't playable. He's too big.
He's too big. Okay. Obviously, just like Ridley's too big. The description reads, "This giant beast will appear when summoned, spreading its wings to create a powerful attack. Rathalos has fire breath and a roar that stuns opponents. Finding an opportunity to get an attack in can be difficult."
I really hope we get earplugs as an item now.
Yeah. So
it would be awesome if his music played when he gets called in, like just temporary music, Rathalos theme. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. I hope maybe even if we don't get like a Monster Hunter character, maybe we get some Monster Hunter, maybe a track or two in there with him. That would be cool.
I just need the main theme for Monster Hunter. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Last on the stage.
His model looks great. He looks great.
It's like they straight up
if there was any Monster Hunter monster that they were going to bring into this game, Rathalos, the flagship of the entire series, the flagship monster of the entire series, and he's looking super good. So here's hoping for a Monster Hunter character.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I need it.
Yeah, for sure.
In addition, the next day we got 2 posts on the 28th. The first one being a little piece of music, the main theme from Yoshi's New Island. I actually haven't gotten a chance to listen to this.
We'll hear a lot of it when the game comes out, I'm sure.
Big fan of Yoshi's themes in the game, for sure.
And I'll take a quick moment to plug this. I've been slacking, but not anymore, and I finally got around to recording my next episode of Smashing Tunes. This episode is definitely going to be a lot longer because there was a lot to it. I compared the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate theme to the other themes and then categorized them, and listed them at the end, 1 through 5, my favorite to my least favorite. That being said, all the music's good. Can't discriminate.
Can't wait to use my Switch as an iPod.
Pretty much. It's such a weird feature, but I also understand it specifically because of the way that Japanese culture is just very mobile.
Yeah,
I want one of those like where the things you put your iPod.
Oh, one of those armbands.
Jogging, but for my Switch, just have a Switch my whole arm.
Oh no, my Joy-Con fell off. Get my Joy-Con
More
back.
exercise. You gotta run all the way back to get it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great, man.
So in addition to the music on the 28th, we also got a better look at the New Donk City Hall stage.
Redonkulous.
And it's a transforming moving stage, and it looks beautiful. This stage
got the best soundtrack.
Yeah. This stage is based on Super Mario Odyssey's New Donk City. When a fighter touches a band member, their instrument gets added to the background track. Mayor Pauline also makes an appearance.
That is such a cool touch. I love that.
Yeah. It's it doesn't seem like it's of consequence, but it just does change the landscape, and it's a different way to interact with the stage that we haven't been able to interact with before. So
I hope the T-Rex shows up at some point.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I don't know how big they're going to go into this, but these screenshots, it looks pretty.
Yeah, that's going to be a regular stage for me.
I sat down the other day and I was like, I want to play a game. And I wasn't really worried about playing any new games necessarily. And I was like this close to starting a new save on Super Mario Odyssey and playing through it again. Because man, that's a special game right there.
Going back to the T-Rex, at the very least, I hope that becomes like an assist trophy.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's all I want in life. Like now that you mentioned it, like I need a T-Rex to run across the screen.
Just a T-Rex with a mustache or a top hat.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting if they had like alt final smashes, you know, and so seeing like a final smash of that sort, but I doubt that's going to happen since they haven't already dug into it. We would have heard something about that if because we've already heard about the smash meter, right?
Yeah.
So
Mario just throws Cappy onto a random T-Rex and he just chomps everyone on the stage. That'd be crazy. It'd be awesome. It just tramples everybody.
All right. So next day they featured the fighter Peach,
Yay!
the super princess. Watch out for her powerful kicks while she's airborne. Using her down special, she picks vegetables and throws them at her opponents. Sometimes she even gets items like a Bob-omb. Huh.
No, man, we're Daisy boys out here. We're Daisy boys out here, man.
This is interesting. So she picks vegetables and throws them at her opponents. Sometimes she even gets items. So can she just pick items instead of just?
It's like super rare chance that happens.
Okay.
So it's like maybe once every like 50 times or 20 something times or something like that.
Was this
it's like it happens
likely
so fast,
to happen?
You have time to react to it.
Was this quality in her character in previous entries?
I think so. Like either that or it was like yeah, I think she did.
If you don't know, you haven't spammed that move enough.
True.
I was never a Peach main, but I did. Usually it's a Peach I just spam like over B, right? And just like you know, booty pop into people.
Ha-cha.
I don't know. I always just really enjoyed that look when the turnip bounces off of them. They're just kind of like, what was that?
Did you just throw a turnip at me?
Yeah. So maybe we'll have to just get all the Mario characters and we'll play on New Donk City. I know that I see the boys and the peoples in the chats are very, very happy about New Donk
it's gonna be
City.
a fun one.
It is a very exciting stage from a very, very exciting game.
Also, according to Dream Drop, the bomb thing, pulling out bombs and stuff, has been there.
Wow.
Theme swords.
I can't believe I've been like so ignorant of this stuff. I call myself a Nintendo fan. Not anymore. Goodbye. I'm leaving the podcast. This is my exit.
Hey man, it's okay. We're Daisy mains out here. It's okay.
From Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah. Anyway, moving on. Our last post for today from the 30th. So yesterday.
My favorite Dragon Ball character.
Your favorite? Oh, well then why don't you talk about your favorite Dragon Ball character, Paul?
Wolf. The leader of Star Wars
Dragon Ball
team
character.
Makes his grand return after 10 years. Crap, it's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
Oh my god.
I'm old!
Raw came out when I was a baby.
Wild attacks, and his final smash is an all-out attack by Team Starwolf. If Fox or Falco is in this battle, you may hear a unique line of dialogue.
That's cool. Again, a nice touch. A nice touch.
Be great.
The fact that Nintendo, Sakurai goes out of his way to make sure that all these things are happening. And I can't imagine that every single idea is his. He's probably got some creatives on the team that are like, hey, what about this? And he goes, I like that.
Hey man, I'm just happy the Landmasters are gone. I'm just so happy the Landmasters are gone.
Yeah.
I've killed myself more than I've killed my opponents.
Right. They were definitely one of the lesser of these final smashes.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful not to run off the stage. Oh, and I'm dead. There we go.
Alrighty. So, moving on from the blog, it's always a good time with the blog. We have a lot of fun. but we should talk about more things concerning Super Smash Bros. For example, coming from mynintendonews.com, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate tops Amazon bestsellers of 2018 despite not being out until December. And this is specifically in the US,
for sure.
which is one of the largest markets, obviously. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. People might be into Smash Brothers.
Right. So, like, if this game came out tomorrow, like, people would go out and buy it. So it's not... It also shouldn't be surprising that of all the games that people feel okay pre-ordering, that it's a Smash Bros. Game, right? I generally don't encourage pre-ordering because a lot of times people pre-order a game and these companies rake in that money, and well, sometimes it's a subpar product, right? But when it comes to Nintendo games, I feel like there's an exception a lot of the times because
sure
you're going to get a quality product. 95% of the time, and that's a pretty good likelihood. They definitely have their missteps, but Smash Bros. Will not be one of them, and I guarantee you that. Regardless if it has everything that you want in it, it's going to be a fantastic experience, and you're not going to be upset that you spent $60 on it. So the fact that it's at the top of the Amazon game best sellers list of 2018, and it doesn't come out until December, I'm not surprised.
Also, when they made that report that the Amazon pre-order bonus thing was going on was like a discount for pre-ordering games, like Nintendo games pre-orders skyrocketed, and I know Smash got a huge boost from that too. So,
and I think that yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I was just gonna say I saw another story that a lot of games had popped back up on Amazon as soon as that promotion was over. So I feel like a lot of the other like PlayStation 4 games and Xbox One games got taken off of Amazon's pre-order promotion. So that I think they like just stopped selling physical copies, so they like you couldn't take advantage of that. And since the Nintendo games were still available, like that just gave them the boost they needed.
Yeah, and that also might be a reason. Obviously, we don't know. I don't know all of the workings of the back end of Amazon, and
we're losing too much money.
I think
20% off.
There's probably not a singular reason. There's probably a whole host of reasons why this happened, but it's good to see anyway because it's encouraging and it's fun. But what is not, I think this is good news. This next story is good news, but it's also kind of not good news.
I don't like it.
It's not bad news. It's just not the news I wanted, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So there is a limited edition Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which I will say looks sleek.
Looks clean.
It's a very, very simple design. You get that white and black going on. And this is sold separately and also included in the limited edition bundle in the US. Or is that just North America in general?
It might just be North America.
That's what I was thinking. They usually release it just region by region. But this is frustrating because in Europe, they are not getting this Pro controller with the bundle, but they're getting the Gamecube controller and then the Gamecube controller adapter and then the Steelbook and the game all in one bundle. And that is the bundle that I wanted. I wanted that bundle.
The Steelbook's also in the Gamecube bundle?
What?
Yep.
The Steelbook's also in the Gamecube bundle?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted the Steelbook, and if I could get another Gamecube controller, I would have been happy, but the price of the Pro controller with the game is just...
It's like $150 something or something.
Yeah, I don't want to pay that much.
140.
Yikes.
I want to say the other one with like the GameCube controller was like 100 even. So that was a good deal.
And here's the thing, like I could definitely use another Pro controller, so this is definitely a good option for me. But I also want a GameCube controller and a GameCube adapter, but I'd want that more, right? I already have 3 GameCube controllers, so literally I just need to buy like another GameCube controller and then the adapter for the Switch. And so that bundle would have been perfect. It would have been everything I wanted. So I think this is a little bit confusing, but I can understand why they would want to push this product in this way.
Yeah, personally, I don't have a Pro controller yet, so I'd personally probably want to get the Pro controller and the Steelbook bundle. I have like a Wavebird Smash controller still. Yeah. Well, I have a Wavebird GameCube controller still, and I have my adapter from Wii U. So I don't really need to get that GameCube controller bundle.
Yeah.
So like I'm more catered to the Pro controller option personally. But that box that you get with the GameCube controller bundle, though, ooh, it's clean.
Yeah, it's clean. Yeah. So it's a little bit disappointing, and I would argue that the real bundle is the one with the GameCube controller. It just feels more genuine.
It's Smash Brothers. Everybody, you gotta play with the GameCube controller.
And
that's the one you gotta ship.
Let's be clear. If you don't play with the GameCube controller,
you're doing it wrong.
No, stop. We don't like to discriminate here. That's okay, but you're probably gonna lose. So
it's gonna be all about the Joy-Con and its sign, man.
That's what I was about to say.
Singular Joy-Con, or you're playing it wrong. That's what it's gonna be.
I'm just getting like my carpal tunnel is coming back just thinking about it.
I'll be playing Mad Smash games just like this with a Joy-Con.
The crazy thing is, someone would be just amazing that way. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Someone would master it.
All right.
I think the thing that like disappoints me most about this is, one, they could have just offered both bundles, you know. But the European bundle, you save $10 by buying that. Where this, I feel like they would have just knocked $10 off of it, I'll be all for this.
Right.
Yeah, I want another Pro controller. I want that Steelbook.
Yeah, the whole point of a bundle is you're supposed to save a little bit, right? Or at least get it in a nice package. But I don't think Nintendo likes to give people savings because they know they're gonna buy it anyway. Like I'm pretty sure like they have the Splatoon Switch bundle, which also came with like a case, a travel case for your Switch.
Yeah.
And it literally was like the MSRP was the same as all of those items combined. So it's like there's no advantage other than like, oh, this is a really nice package and I like Splatoon 2.
I really wonder where they get their statistics from on where they should put certain bundles, because I know for sure all the American players are just like, why aren't we getting that GameCube controller bundle? I would buy 3. So
they should have offered both.
Yeah, they must have some weird justification. And maybe it's not weird. Maybe it's a better justification because they are a business and they're trying to make money. So you never know.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to this, another My Nintendo News article. Best Buy's Canada's Wolf Amiibo page suggests that Amiibo can be used to instantly unlock characters in Smash Ultimate.
Oh gosh, I hope
Please
so.
No.
I'm all for it.
I'm in favor of this. Because I don't think it's terribly important how you unlock them. And if you have the Amiibo, it gives you an extra use, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing saying that you have to use your Amiibo to unlock it, Yeah. And you're still going to be able to unlock all the characters, without the Amiibo. So I think this makes sense. It's almost expected, not that it was that way when, Smash 4 came out, but also we were waiting on a lot of Amiibo, and now a lot of these Amiibo are already out. So this doesn't guarantee, but I mean, it seems pretty explicit. So I'd be hard pressed to find out that this wasn't the case when the game.
That seems like a solid feature, to be honest. And wasn't the Amiibo icon grayed out or like blurred out on the menu when they were showing the menu on the Direct? I think it was it?
It might have been. I know in addition to the alleged spirits, I say alleged, but it seems like it's pretty guaranteed that it was, that was the translation. And I know there was one other thing that was blurred out, and that might have been the case.
And they also haven't even talked about Amiibo functionality yet. And I'm sure the figure player thing is going to come back, but the ability to just unlock characters with Amiibo doesn't sound like that big of an issue. Like if you want to unlock them the regular way, like just have a smash party and just unlock everyone naturally, that's all good. But usually, like when people were getting their amiibos anyway, you got the characters that you liked as an amiibo. So if you have to wait to unlock, say, like Mr. Game & Watch or Rob or somebody, they're probably late game. So just get them early. That way you have your character already unlocked and you're good to go.
And I'm anticipating, just like in the other games, that there's going to be multiple unlock paths. That like, oh, you can either do like 1,000 versus matches, or you can play through this part of the story mode, or, you know. So, yeah, and the Sandman in the chat is saying, please be story, please be story, please be story. And there's going to be a story. I think there was enough of an outcry from Smash 4 about there not being a subspace emissary. That is a beautiful amiibo.
I'm all good as soon as the game launches. Tap, got it. I'm good. That's all I'm saying.
I got Captain Falcon. That's all I need. The one amiibo I decided to buy.
Yeah.
The most important.
I have a few amiibo, but they're all like, they're all Animal Crossing amiibo. And those ones I feel really compelled to collect because once Animal Crossing Switch drops,
Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival too. I hear you.
Yeah,
hey man, it's inevitable. You get that Isabelle Echo Fighter, tap.
I'd be down. I'd be down with some Echo Fighters of Isabelle or Tom Nook. I think that would just be, honestly, because like I don't think it. I think you could just, you know, again, just make a Echo Fighter. I think that would work. I think I might want Isabelle more than Tom Nook.
Oh, for sure. She's the fan favorite.
Yeah.
The correct answer is just all of the above.
Yeah. So I think this is a non-issue. I think this is honestly a welcome feature. You don't have to use it if you want. Especially if you don't have Amiibo, you definitely can't use it. So steal your friends' Amiibos. And then remember to give it back to them afterwards, because we don't actually encourage stealing here on the Break Room Arcade or the Nintendo Stuff podcast. Looks like we have one more story concerning the wonderful upcoming December release of Smash Bros. Ultimate. Random, this is coming from NintendoLife.com. Smash fans thank Sakurai for adding King K. Rool to Ultimate. This is a nice change of pace.
Finally, someone's thanking him for once.
Yeah, it's a lot of complaining that this isn't in the game or that isn't in the game, especially with Waluigi. So I hope Sakurai sees this, and I hope he's encouraged, because I think this tends to be true for most fandoms. The most vocal of fans tend to be the most incorrigible, because the vocal ones are the ones who are complaining the most, right? Mm-hmm. And people who are enjoying the game, they just don't talk. They're just enjoying the game. They're enjoying what they love to enjoy. And so seeing a little bit more of a vocal, just making more noise from the more positive side of the fandom. And so this is really, really cool. It says, one group of fans, the Super Smash Bros. Series is sustained by a passionate community with a seemingly endless amount of requests. One group of fans, though, recently tweeted Masahiro Sakurai a drawing and a letter thanking him for adding King K. Rool to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and for being a game director who listens.
Hey, man, that's nice.
Yeah, I think this is important because obviously Sakurai made a point to say, guys, I'm doing this because you guys want it. And so just saying a little bit of a thank you is like, oh, okay, it wasn't all in vain, even though Waluigi is never ending up in the game.
He deserves all of the praise, all of it.
Yeah, he really does. He does a great job, and he should be commended, and we should continue. We should do that a little bit more, and then a little bit more after that, and just give people encouragement in general. I think this should be something that people practice on a daily basis. Is just recognizing that people are doing really cool things and then selfless things, and they're not asking for recognition. But it is nice when you do something and somebody compliments you or encourages you or thanks you for all the things that you've done. And game developers are no different. Moving on from Smash Bros. News, though, we have a bit of an upset. And I'll take full responsibility because I didn't play this most recent Splatfest, which was Team Fork against Team Spoon. And obviously the right answer was Team Spoon, and which got more votes.
So mad, man.
It was a pretty close one. It was 46.8 to 53.2, and Fork and Spoon respectively. But Fork took the solo and the team wins by a very close margin. Like so much so that the team disparity is less than 1%. Like that's how close it was, you know.
I'm getting sick of these popular votes losing, man. They referenced it in the game. Marina was like, "Why do I keep losing? I'm on a 3-lose streak right now." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah,
Marina,
I mean, no. I'm not surprised. I mean, it tends to be the case. It doesn't always happen. So I guess if you want to get more wins, you probably should just pick the one that you think is going to be less popular. And I usually pick the one that's more popular because it's usually the more sensible choice because I'm right. And spoons are more versatile than forks. So all of you fork losers can get lost.
Good luck eating your soup with a fork.
What about sporks?
Goofies.
Right. So
that's the real answer.
It's been a while since I played Splatoon, and I think I need to jump back into it pretty soon. But this hurts my heart. This hurts my heart because obviously people who prefer forks don't know what they're talking about.
But they're better at Splatoon, so.
What?
Yeah, apparently.
Whatever. So here's a cool bit of news that we mentioned. We were talking about this before the show. Coming from mynintendonews.com, US Nintendo Switch to surpass Nintendo 3DS with number of available games. Excuse me?
They did that really fast.
Yeah, Switch has been out for less than 2 years. Less than 2 years. Switch is still fresh. But everybody's porting, like all the older games are getting ported. Like, you know, we just had this Nindy showcase, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that later in the show. Because there were some cool games that were announced that I am very, very interested in. But yeah, like a lot of games that were going to come to the 3DS or to the Wii U got canceled and then just got brought to the Switch. And so a lot of the 3DS and Switch, there's a lot of crossover, especially with indie games. And then it also helps that like indie games specifically sell a lot better on the Switch compared to the other consoles and also Steam.
Small games thrive on this machine, man.
Yeah. So it's kind of a no-brainer that like people are just bringing all of these games to the Switch all at once because they want to get in before it gets too crowded, but then they didn't think that, oh no, it's going to get really crowded. Now, Nintendo does curate the eShop to a degree, but with mixed results.
They need to start tightening those floodgates a little bit more, man.
Yeah, I think
they're letting too many people in, like too many of anything in here.
Yeah,
like you gotta dig.
Yeah. So as long as you like know what to look for, and obviously Nintendo features these games in their Indie Showcase to feature the best of the best games. And so there are ways to find them outside of going on the eShop. I think the biggest thing with that, though, is now that there are so many games, I think there needs to be an eShop overhaul, which I believe that Nintendo was looking for programmers and designers for the Switch UI. So I can't imagine that doesn't include an eShop redesign. Actually, I'll say this a little bit off Nintendo, but talking about storefronts, I was on the PlayStation Network storefront, and you guys, they're the typing interface is awful.
Worst.
Yeah, the typing interface on there is bad.
It's so bad.
I still to this day don't know what they were even thinking with that.
Yeah, I don't know what, but they changed it.
Thank you.
It's literally just the keyboard now. And I'm like, why didn't this happen forever ago? And now I can search for things like 1,000,000 times faster. And so I hope that Nintendo is working on improving the eShop experience. Obviously, when it launched, they wanted to keep it lightweight. And they wanted to get it out and it be functional and speedy. But now it's filling up. And that design doesn't work anymore. You know, I have to sift through hundreds of games now. And I don't just want to have to go to the best-selling games, because I imagine there are some indie gems in there that aren't talked about. That should be featured.
If you're not checking the eShop weekly and like just scrolling through like for a couple minutes every week, you're gonna lose some really good stuff.
Yeah, and it's not realistic that that somebody is going to be able to check it consistently. There might be some people who will, and especially people, younger people who don't have a job and they can just play more games. Obviously, when you get older and you got a job, you can't dedicate quite as much time. So do a little bit better with the curation and do a little bit of a redesign. Give us more filter options. So we can find the kind of games that we want, and then maybe a rating system. I would love to see a rating system akin to Steam, where it's like it doesn't get more than I like this and I dislike it, or I recommend it, or I don't recommend it, right? And then giving us something along that line, something a little vague, but indicative of how many people actually enjoyed the experience, and then maybe give us some reviews. Maybe they probably won't do reviews.
I could have swore Nintendo was trying to implement some type of like star rating system or something. Like a while ago, I heard about something like that they were trying to do.
I think it lasts like a week, maybe. I think they're just testing.
Oh, they tried it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of companies will do that, where they'll just like throw in a feature, and then they probably won't even roll it out to everybody. They'll just roll it out to like a portion of the user base to test it out. But yeah, so better design, better
pizza,
curation,
Papa John's.
Some sort of a rating system, something that's a little bit ambiguous, but also something that's gonna let me know, well, 77% of people liked this, so I should give this a check out. Moving on, we have another story from my Nintendo news.
Busy Nintendo News Week.
Yeah, so I did not get a chance yet to watch this, but the rumored August Direct wasn't. We did get an August Direct, but it wasn't an August Direct. So we got a mobile Direct.
This was a shadow drop. I did not expect this one.
Yeah, and they talked about they literally were talked about this like the day before.
Yeah.
They had the Nindy showcase, and then they were like, hey, we're going to have this little mobile direct about this singular game for our new mobile game. And this is out of left field because, like, this isn't like, oh, it's Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem.
Or
and
Mario Kart, which is the last one we heard about.
Right. And so this is Dragalia Lost. Yep. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Dragalia.
I think because it's not, because it's like an original IP, I'm actually a little more interested in it, just to see like when Nintendo like develops a property specifically for mobile device, how does that turn out?
Yeah, it gives it they're not tied to any pre-existing structure from pre-existing IPs.
The little bit I watched of this direct too, like I don't know if I'd play a lot of it, but I'm definitely interested in actually playing this title, which I didn't think I would be from like the announcement of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a mobile game, right? There are very few mobile games that are going to hold your attention, you know, as long as a $60 console title will, right? Because it's all about the gameplay loop, right? And then and there's no end to it. It has to be endless because they have to monetize it and they have to keep people.
What drew me in though was that it actually seemed like it did have a bit of a story. Because like there's a whole like anime cinematic trailer for this. There's voice acting in it.
Right.
There's a theme song. So like that's pretty much what got me interested because like Fire Emblem Heroes, Pocket Camp, Mario Run, none of these are just straight up story driven games. They're just mobile games that you can drop in and play for a little bit and that's it. But this one actually has a campaign, it seems like. Yeah. It's characters with motivation. So like if I could jump in free to play this game like all the way through like base and not put any money into this game, that'd be pretty cool. But I feel like at some point maybe I might have to drop like maybe $5 in to get a little bit of an edge. But if I can just play through the campaign and just enjoy that, that'd be perfectly okay with me.
Yeah. So
there was one thing that really stood out to me in this direct too, though. Like they talk about multiplayer, and so you can play like normally with 3 other friends. But then they showed special events where you can play with just a giant group of people. So I feel like there's going to be like this really great appeal there, in that like on this very special occasion you can drop everything you're doing to play with all these people. In
this game has raids.
Campaign.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. From
the little bit that I watched, I was digging the gameplay. You know, it looks like a lot of fun. It's also it's fresh. You know, it's not like, again, like with Mario Run, I'm like, oh look, I get to play Mario, right? But then also it's less fun Mario because it doesn't feel quite as free, right? Whereas this, I didn't have any expectations going into it. You're not comparing it to a console game. So it's much more free to be received well, I guess.
Yeah.
And so
actually, this kind of reminded me of like, if you put this on the Nintendo DS, it would have worked. It would have made perfect sense.
Right.
That's the way I was thinking about this. Like if this was on the DS, I would have played this. I'd play the mess out of it. And so I'll probably still play the mess out of it just on my smartphone.
Now, I know they collaborated, right, with another studio. Am I right about that?
I forgot the name of the studio, but apparently that studio either helped or made other RPGs. So they already have a pretty good pedigree, which is why this game looks so good in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's not just straight up Nintendo. It's like they actually are working with a RPG developer with this one.
Yeah, and it looks like they've got a little bit of. It looks like it channels a little bit of Fire Emblem, not so much in the strategy, turn-based strategy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I noticed that they have like an elemental triangle.
Yeah.
So everything has advantage. One thing has an advantage on something else, and it's rock paper scissors. So I mean, I'll definitely give this a try when it comes out.
Dream Drop Sora. Dream Drop Sora asked in the chat, is it a gacha game? And it is extremely a gacha game, a la Fire Emblem Heroes, because in the trailer it showed the base characters that you'd be playing with, and then they said, and you can also add all these characters and dragons into your party. All you have to do is go to the summoning stone and summon a character. And I was like, oh no, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, this is the business model that's going to make them a ton of money. I mean, especially in other markets. That's why Fire Emblem Heroes is far and above their most successful,
milking that fan service.
Yeah, that mobile gotcha. And it's even like, we got you, got your money, we got your attention, and I like Fire Emblem Heroes, I really do, and so I hope I enjoy this as well. Any more thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Yeah, usually with like free to play games like this, there's few free to play mobile games specifically that I rarely put money into. I don't think I really put money into mobile games. Like I paid for Mario Run, but that was straight up $10 flat, and I don't have to pay anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Like free to play games, I play Fortnite, and I put like $25 into that game over the course of like a year and a half.
Right.
But like this game, it looks fun. So if it's a fun enough game on its own, and then maybe they start putting in like, hey, you can get this many whatevers to get certain characters and dragons or whatever, I'll probably toss maybe like $10-$20 into it. Like usually in the back of my head, I'm like, a regular game's like $60, so as long as I don't go over $60, I'm okay, right? Right? So we'll see what happens with this. It looks fun though, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it looks like they could have did the Pokemon Quest model where the game is also out on Switch and on phone, and you can switch your data over. Because I wouldn't mind playing this on a TV too, but I'll take it on my phone.
Yeah, definitely. that would be cool. But I also understand, like, okay, we're trying to push, and this is weird because this is a little bit outside of Nintendo's self-proclaimed original mobile strategy. Is to draw people back to what Nintendo is doing on their consoles, whereas this is just like, we're trying to make money in the mobile market, you know, and having something that's exclusively on a mobile from Nintendo. What? That's interesting to say the very least.
Yeah.
But I digress. Coming up next, we have a article from Nintendo Everything. We have a video, a look at the Pokedex in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee. It looks slick. It looks very HD.
I like when you're like kind of going through the overview of all the Pokemon that uses like their old retro sprites. So when you click on it, you get the 3D model and kind of moves around, and you can see some of their animations too. Yeah, like they did really good with this.
And it's I think this game represents more of what's to come than something that I'm initially just excited about, because I'm not terribly excited about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I'm not sure I can justify spending $60 on that when I can only buy so many $60 games in a year. My budget only allows for so much. So obviously at this point it's like, oh, it's either this or Smash Bros. And I haven't even purchased Smash Bros. Yet, and I'm getting Smash Bros. That's a non-negotiable. And then I also have to spend like $30 on a new GameCube controller and another $20 on the, what do you call it? So that's almost
the adapter,
the adapter. And so that's almost another $60 right there. And so if I spend $60 on Pokemon Let's Go, I'll be really, unless I come into money very quickly, which, you know, if the universe is listening and wants to give me a ridiculous amount of money, I will not say no. So if I get the chance to get one of these games, I'll probably get Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, because Eevee's better than Pikachu. But for now, I might have to pass just because of budget constraints. But this game, it does look prettier and better the more they show it off, and it makes me excited for what they are going to do with a main, like a core title.
Yeah, right? This is pretty much just a test run, to be honest. Like, this is just getting everyone visually ready.
I would say, like, I think they called it a mainline Pokemon game, which I think is a good branding, right? Because it's a fully fledged Pokemon game. There's like a few things here and there, but the battle system is intact. The whole, like, I'm walking around the overworld. It's a Pokemon game. But in terms of being like a sequel or the next generation, I feel like this is like what was the latest generation? Are we generation 7 or 8?
I want to say 8.
Yeah.
Who knows anymore?
This feels like mid-generation, like 0.5, a little bit. And then obviously also making that connection to Pokemon Go, which I think this will do amazing with casual audiences. This game will not do poorly at all. just because it's a Pokemon game, and then also having a little bit connectivity with Pokemon Go. Obviously, it's going to be a great success. And again, this UI looks great. It's very
man.
pretty.
I'm just looking forward to the dark ghost Pokemon entries we get in there, because they've been getting kind of more ominous as the years have gone by. Did you play Pokemon Sun or Moon?
I played. Yeah, I've been playing. It's been a while since I played Sun, and I haven't beaten it. And then I have Pokemon Y2, and I still haven't beaten that either.
Yeah, the
You guys are
Pokemon
allowed to berate
entries.
me in the chat for buying the last 2 generations of Pokemon and just not finishing them.
Yeah, the Pokedex entries for Ghost Pokemon specifically have gotten incredibly dark. So I'm looking forward to being in Lavender Town for sure. That's going to be a fun time.
Haunter definitely murdered your uncle.
Okay, moving on. We got oh no.
Oh no!
Oh no. I'm trying to navigate the document. Nintendo is launching brand new starter packs for top Switch games in North America. Comes with a free strategy guide. So each pack is available for $60. The price of the game, it looks like they are starting off with The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild starter pack, Super Mario Odyssey starter pack, and Splatoon 2 starter pack. And the only difference is that it comes with a strategy guide.
You know, Nintendo has some nerve to do stuff like this, and people still buy the games maybe twice. Like, it's insane how this works.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me.
I imagine that you can probably pick up, one of these, like a strategy guide outside of it, right? But like a lot of people who've already played or bought these games have probably already beaten them, and they probably don't feel the need for a strategy guide. This might be a push to sell more copies of these games.
That's my thought, is to target the people or incentivize people that don't already have these to pick them up now that hey, there's an extra thing in here for the $60 you were going to spend anyway.
Yeah, I remember last time they did this, it was like around the holidays again last year when they had the Breath of the Wild Travelers thing, and then you said they also have a Splatoon one out now too.
These strategy packs.
You said it was Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and Splatoon?
Yeah, so none of them have released yet. They will release, they're scheduled for the 28th of September. So around the end of September, these are going to be released.
Yeah, last holiday they did the special thing with the guide for Breath of the Wild. So like if people were getting Switches during Christmas or Black Friday or whatever, they can just get their kid or themselves the guide version. So it comes with like a cool little poster and like an extra guidebook.
Yeah.
So that actually helps out new buyers for sure.
Yeah, and I think that might probably be the target demographic is younger kids who maybe aren't as good at games, and so giving them like a little booklet that they can look through and just so they can actually get through a game like Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey without getting stuck. Specifically those games. Moons. Though I imagine Splatoon 2, it probably's got a strategy guide for the single player. This makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure necessarily if this will like move a lot of units necessarily, but having a little bit of a different packaging, a little bit of a rebranded look, and these games have sold incredibly. Breath of the Wild, between the Wii U version and the Switch version, has sold over 10 million. It is now the best-selling Zelda game, and it deserves it, and it's still selling.
Almost makes you surprised people are still even buying it, because no one, like, you'd think everyone would played it by now, but apparently not.
And if any of you visit VG charts, I wouldn't take everything on VG charts as gospel. But it does give it does give you an overview and a general idea of how games are doing. And I was checking it earlier. And so the week of the 21st, July 21st, the top 10 games worldwide sellers, 9 of them are Switch games.
Yeah.
And then the other one's God of War.
Yeah, God of War.
So I mean, and then one of them is okay. So we got Project Octopath, Mario Kart 8, Taiko no Tatsujin, Drum and Fun.
I can't wait.
The fact that Taiko no Tatsujin is up there, right? And it's probably mostly Japan.
Getting carried in Japan.
No, that's like all in Japan. Oh, because I don't think it's released. It's not released.
It comes out in November here.
So it's probably got some legs. Hopefully it does well in the U.S. Mario Tennis Aces, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
That's surprising.
Mm-hmm. Sonic Mania, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, and then Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've never seen a Zelda game with such good legs, you know, that it's just, it is over a year and a half since that game released, you know,
still quality.
And it's still selling like this, you know. It reminds me of, to a lesser degree, of how, you know, Grand Theft Auto 5 is just still like when there's like
that's still up there.
Yeah, when there's not like a week where there's like a bunch of new releases, sometimes Grand Theft Auto will like
it just sneaks its way back up
into the top 10. Goodness gracious. But I digress. And let's see. Upcoming cloud saves coming from NintendoEnthusiast.com. The upcoming cloud saves for Nintendo Switch are automatic and transferable.
Bless.
Finally,
this is really great news.
This is great news. This is something that I anticipated would come and would be part of the functionality of cloud saves, but it's really nice to get confirmation about this. The fact that they're automatic is great because I know on PlayStation Network you have to manually go in and upload your saves to the cloud. So the fact that they're automatic, I wonder if you'll be able to toggle them, or maybe there's a limit to how much cloud storage you get for your saves. So maybe you can only do it for like 100 games, something like that. I don't know. For 100 games, maybe not. But maybe there is no limit. And it's just, okay, whatever you need is what you get. And then if you log in on another Switch, you know, with this specific user, then you can use that data and download it. Also, that means we're not going to be losing our data. You know, so if you bust your Switch and you have to send it to get it fixed, currently what happens is they send it back and you lose all your save data. All the archived data on the Switch is just, it's gone.
Or when that inevitable Switch 2 comes out, we find we have an easier way to get our data back instead of having to do a weird transfer app situation. Look at you, 3DS.
Yeah. So it says this information comes from a few statements by a gentleman from Blizzard Entertainment, Matt Cedarquist, and I might have butchered that, but that's what we're gonna go with. Turns out the cloud save feature will be quite seamless. Save data will automatically be uploaded to the cloud with no input from the user. So yeah, this is great. I mean, it says right here, for instance, my Steam save data is automatically sent to the cloud, which is true, but it also gets really annoying sometimes when I'm trying to close an application. It's like, oh, uploading save, and I have to wait a few seconds when. So I hope. Yeah. But I do. There's a part of me that hopes that you can toggle this on and off. And then you can
just go in and manually,
yeah, instead of having it all uploaded, because sometimes you might not care. But I imagine that even if that was the case, most people wouldn't go through the trouble to turn it on manually, and I probably wouldn't either. But it's nice to have a feeling of control over what you're doing. So good on you, Nintendo. We're finally getting those online services that we've been asking for so long, and it's finally coming, and we're getting Nintendo Switch Online very, very soon, the second half of September. So that means we're possibly 2 weeks away from Nintendo Switch Online, which that means you guys need to all get your wallets ready to dish out $20 for a year, or a family plan for $35 a year. So if you want to get all your friends together
7 friends.
and just pool your money together, that seems like a really a cost-effective alternative, even though $20 a person is nothing.
Pocket change.
And I've said this before, I don't think that it'll stay at $20 forever. I think they will eventually raise it, probably as they add more content and more functionality to the service itself. Specifically as they add more games. Maybe here's all the Super Nintendo games and we're going to up it to $30 a year. And here's N64 games and we're going to up it to $40 a year, in a few years. So who knows how that's going to work out. But as of now, it is pretty cheap.
Can't wait to play Super Mario Brothers 3 for the 5th time. Oh yeah.
So finishing off our primarily Nintendo news, we need to talk about this Nindies presentation. People call it a Nindies Direct, but I think that's misleading because it's not a Direct, and we weren't gonna get anything other than Indies here.
They were treating it as a part 2, to be honest. Actually, they referenced the one that happened in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I watched it and I don't remember them saying that. Oh, well, that's just me.
Well, they call it highlights. This was a showcase. They're different.
Right. But I was totally like, this was a hype Nindy showcase.
There was some
very hype Nindy showcase. They announced Into the Breach for the Switch, and then it was out right then from the makers of FTL and Faster Than Light. I'm a huge FTL fan. I've never actually finished a campaign. I've gotten to the end so many times, but I've never beaten it. Hyper Light Drifter Special Edition, a lot of these already released indies, again, coming to the Switch, and they're probably going to sell like gangbusters, and all these studios are going to get a nice fat paycheck, and it's going to help them develop new games.
It's going to be Hollow Knight all over again.
A lot of these games seem like they're really quality. I would expect nothing less from the FTL devs. Into the Breach, if you're into strategy games, especially turn-based strategy games, I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. Fire Emblem, Advanced Wars, it just seems like a little bit of that, and then like more of an isometric view, and I'm a fan, and I almost, if I could justify spending $15 on this right now, but I'm going into frugal mode. But if I could justify spending $15, I would have picked that up the other day when it was announced. Towerfall. Have you guys played Towerfall before?
I've seen it. I haven't played it.
Okay. It was funny. When I was watching Towerfall, I'll say this. When I was watching Towerfall, I looked at it and I'm like, this gives me... I've never watched this game before. I know I've heard about it, but I've never watched it played before, and it gives me Samurai Gun vibes. And I'm a big fan of Samurai Gun. And then they announced Samurai Gun 2 in the same presentation. And I freaked out. It was amazing. I'll talk a little bit more about Samurai Gun 2 in just a moment, and I might have a story for you guys, because that is a very significant game.
I've heard you guys might like that a bit.
Yeah, it's really good. Paul, have you played Samurai Gun?
Nope.
I didn't even know there was a Samurai Gun 1, to be honest.
Well, it was a pretty niche game. The fact that it got into this Nindy showcase, that's a lot of publicity, and I hope it takes off on the Switch, because I will be picking this up day one on the Switch. You better believe it. And it's
Logan's not that excited. He doesn't like it that much.
I think I want to say, and I'm going to look this up really quick. I want to say that the original Samurai Gun was like only on... Oh, it was on PS4 as well.
No, PS4. Okay.
It was on PS4, but I played it on Windows. But it is a local game primarily. So the fact that it's on the Switch, like this is the platform that it needs to be on to succeed, right? To really, really succeed. Not that it didn't succeed. Oh no, Samurai Gun was only on Windows and OS X. It has a planned PS4 and PlayStation Vita works, but that might, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets canned now that Samurai Gun 2 is out. That might just get released. So yeah, it never had the proper environment to really shine.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess since I'm already talking about it, Samurai Gun's really significant for me. Because it coincided with Lil Logan being a miserable, miserable person and having his heart broken. And it offered me relief and also community. So I was with friends, specifically Brandon and our friend Joe. And Joe put on Samurai Gun and we played it. It's a very simple game. It's literally, okay, you have your samurai sword and you can attack in the air and you can wall jump and do all this other stuff. And then you have a gun with like, I think 3 bullets that resets every time you die. And so it's just like, it's like a death match, right? And so you just keep going until somebody gets, and each of the matches are really, really quick. Like they're usually no longer than like a minute and a half. There's no timer. It's just, it happens so quickly and it's a one-hit kill every time. So you hit someone, they're dead. You score a point. They hit you, you're dead. They score a point. And so it's this quick paced action game that just never stops. And so a combination of me being a sad boy, being with friends, and then just having this hysterical game. It's funny. It's funny, and I don't think it tries to be funny, and this isn't a negative either. This is because it's just so quick. It caught me off guard, and I have never laughed harder in my life than when I was playing Samurai Gun with friends. So anybody who's in the market for a local multiplayer game that you are going to enjoy the heck out of and that it's accessible to everybody, Samurai Gun 2, please, I beg of you, pay attention to this game.
I'm surprised this game got a sequel drop on Switch, and like if it has as small as an audience as you say it does, I'm surprised they didn't also drop like the first one like the day of the direct too. Well, just to draw in some people.
Well, from what I can see, it looks Samurai Gun was not an extensive game. It was very bare bones, but the core of it was executed so well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Samurai Gun 2 is like pretty much the same, other than adding features and just fleshing out what Samurai Gun was. So it may not be necessary or even desirable to port the original game. It might just be, best just to release Samurai Gun 2 and just have that be the experience. Look out for this game. Buy this game. It's going to be a riot. It's going to be amazing. And you better believe it. I'm going to be buying this game, and we're going to be streaming it, and we're going to be covering it. At least I know I'll be covering it. And it's going to be a good time. Now that I'm done talking about Samurai Gun 2, woo!
Sold
it. Treasure Stack. This one, following block puzzles, I'm into those kind of games. I'm a huge Tetris fan myself. So this one is just kind of up my alley. I didn't think too much about it. It was like, oh, another puzzle game.
So I have some input on this one. I actually have played Treasure Stack already.
Okay.
I was at Anime Central back in May, and they had an indie games area, and the devs for Treasure Stack were there, and I got to play the game and also play against some of the devs in a couple matches at Treasure Stack, and they said they took heavy inspiration from Wario Woods, if you've ever seen that game before, where you're not controlling just the blocks, you're controlling the character that's moving the blocks around, and you're doing all the platforming and stuff like that. And then they tossed in the grappling hook, because who doesn't love a game with grappling hooks?
Right.
So they basically just wanted to make a game that's fun, simple, and also intense enough where it can be like a bit of a competitive type of thing too. It's a super fun game. Lots of customization options, all like aesthetically. They don't really change how the character plays. Like there's like 30 something different character models and like 50 something different hook tips. So like super great game. I was asking them like back in May, I was like, is this game coming to Switch? And they were like, I don't know. It might. And I was like, it's coming to Switch. And it's coming to Switch. And it was in a showcase too. So good for them to actually getting that publicity. So that's going to be great.
Yeah. Next, they talked about a game called Zarvot. And I think this game had been revealed previously, but it launches first on Nintendo Switch in October.
Yeah.
It's a game about cubes, and the gameplay looks solid. It looks very visually unique. It stands apart, especially from other like voxel games, right? And yeah, it looks a lot of fun. I interacted with one of the solo dev. I think it might be one guy. I might be wrong about that though. So don't take my word for it. And yeah, it looks very charming. It's all about cubes and friends and
a banana with a gun. Banana gun.
And a banana gun. Because who doesn't love a good banana gun? That was like something I did when I was in like preschool. So obviously I have a history with banana guns. Maneko's Night Market. I was very into this one because it was very like, it looks like a life sim, but then also like you have a market and you're managing a business, and it just, again, it looked very charming. It just
speaks to the weeb in me.
Yeah, it's got a very distinct visual style. I think this is one I'll definitely keep my eye on. Definitely one of the more interesting of the bunch. That being said, all the games that were shown here look very well polished, and they look like they have a lot of personality. And yeah. So I think I'll
games that have like hand-drawn, non-sprite-based art styles for me as of recently have been big draws. So this game for sure got my attention right away.
Yeah,
that art style.
And then obviously there's Samurai Gun 2. And I'll just say this: it says here that the Samurai Gun 2 features a new adventure mode. Classic Versus mode returns with up to 4 players. So again, as I was saying, it's probably just Samurai Gun, more fleshed out and more of an experience, maybe hooking in the initial purchase with that adventure mode, giving you a little bit of a single player experience. But the multiplayer is where it's at. Paul, we're all gonna get together before Samurai Gun, because Samurai Gun 2 doesn't launch until 2019. So we got a few months, and I'm going to make sure that we all get together and play Samurai Gun before that happens.
Sounds good to
hopefully
me.
Stream it as well, because that'd be a lot of fun. Next game is Bullet Age. And I don't remember this one as much.
Yeah, it looks kind of like following Samurai Gun. It looked kind of like, another side scroller with like bullet hell type stuff.
Yeah,
actions, hack and slash. So that one might get a little buried. Looks fun, but it might get buried. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I hope that all these games are good and that they all succeed, and I think they have a good chance of succeeding, especially if they're in the Indies showcase. The World Next Door, influenced by anime, The World Next Door is a story-driven game that follows a rebellious teenage girl trapped in a parallel world inhabited by magical creatures. Players will meet and develop friendships with an eclectic cast of characters by means of a reputation system, which features a branching dialogue based on player choice.
Another game with an interesting art style that drew me in a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this one looks pretty good as well.
Yeah, that's the one with the puzzle battle system, right? I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems really
so
interesting.
It's very Candy Crush?
Yeah, something like that.
There's other. I've played other games like these. It's a tried and true system. So if you're not into games where you're trying to match 3 of the same tile or orb or whatever it is and have them disappear, this game might not be for you. But again, if you're into this kind of game, and I am, but it's definitely not too high on my list. It looks like there is a 2-player local multiplayer, which would be a shame if there wasn't local multiplayer on a Switch game. It's almost like, okay, oh, maybe there's not one in your game. Maybe we should make one because we're bringing it to Switch. This next one, I was very interested in. Levelhead, right?
Oh, that ad was great.
Great. So it's like this. It's a platformer, a co-op platformer, and then you can build the levels, right? You can design the levels, but you can do it simultaneously with your friends on the same console. Why was this not a feature in Super Mario Maker?
Speaking of Super Mario Maker, this literally just made me think, where's Super Mario Maker on Switch? Like, I feel like the indie beat Nintendo to the makers on Switch. So this is probably going to give us a good example of how that's going to go.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think this game just might do that well just because Super Mario Maker is not currently on the Switch.
Yeah, it'll scratch that itch.
So content can be shared with all players on all platforms that also support Levelhead, including PC, iOS, and Android. So this game is on iOS and Android. And I think that's interesting because you already have that touchscreen interface. So I wonder if you could have like a bunch of people with Switches. Everybody has their own Switch and you're all playing just handheld. And everybody's... I hope that it supports... it does. It says a robust level maker using both touchscreen and traditional controls. So that's awesome. Maybe Nintendo was holding back on Super Mario Maker to give this game a little room to breathe. But I also don't anticipate that Nintendo will integrate the co-op into Super Mario Maker or Super Mario Maker 2 if that's even coming. I think it would be a waste if we didn't get Super Mario Maker on the Switch, considering Super Mario Maker was on the Wii U and nobody played it because nobody played the Wii U. And so there's 2 other games, King of the Hat, which I don't...
When was the release date for this?
Early 2019. A lot of these later ones are early 2019.
Party fighters are going to have a hard time.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough. So they just have to find ways to differentiate, themselves.
You have to have really awesome hats. That's a secret.
Right.
It's all about the hats.
And then they talked about Untitled Goose Game, which is not the official title.
No, I hope it is.
I think that would be hysterical if they kept it as here's Untitled Goose Game. It kind of goes in the same way. It's just as good as like Ghost Simulator, right? It's just as generic. And then they touched on a bunch of other indie games that I think were already previously announced for the most part.
There was one that was a standout, and that was Bastion. And
Yeah,
that's what
Bastion,
comes with
yeah.
Nintendo
Bringing
Switch.
Bastion, that was cool.
That came out on Transistor too, same team.
Yeah, the Messenger looks really good, but they've talked
Yeah.
about that before. Wasteland 2, I'm interested in that because Wasteland and Wasteland 2, well, Wasteland 2 specifically, well, both games, those are spiritual successors to the original Fallout games. So if you like hard, like really intricate, like classic RPGs, and also post-apocalyptic settings, Wasteland 2 Director's Cut is coming on September 13th. Undertale on September 18th. Lightfinger September 20th. Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery. Sword. Okay, I was like, EP coming out in October. Jackbox Party Pack 5. If you guys haven't played any of the party packs, the Jackbox games, they're just a blast. Get together with your friends. Get like 15 people over at your house and just have a blast. Transistor, which I think, who developed Transistor? What was their previous game? Was that
Bastion?
Was that the Bastion developers?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's coming to Switch. Desert Child coming in December. Dragon Marked for Death coming December.
That game's on my radar.
13th. Yeah. And why is that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Because it's like an anime looking side scroll beat 'em up type of thing. 4 different characters to choose from. I think it has local multiplayer. So that's like a huge draw. So just the aesthetic draws me in for sure. I've been keeping an eye on that once they revealed it like earlier this year in another Indie Direct. So it's good that it has a date now.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the Nintendo portion of the Nintendo Stuff podcast. Though we still got some Nintendo Switch news going on here from third parties. From my Nintendo news, I'm so excited about the possibility of this. Bandai Namco says, we'll think about the possibility of Soul Calibur 6 on Nintendo Switch.
Bring Link back!
Yes!
Bring Link back.
Yes! Okay, so I am not a huge fighting game fan, right? When it comes to fighting games, I like platform fighters, specifically Super Smash Bros. But there are not a lot of more traditional fighting games that tickle my fancy like Soul Calibur does. And it's not just because Soul Calibur 2 featured Link on the GameCube. It's just because those games are so smooth.
Yeah, it's a clean series.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then like the whole dynamic between like it being like a 2D fighter, but it's also 3D, right? Because you're able to move around each other. So I think that added like third dimension, but while still maintaining kind of the essence of a 2D fighter, but then also just having super smooth controls. And obviously, I can't imagine that Soul Calibur 6 is going to be any different in that regard. I think it's going to be super good. And oh my gosh, I think it'll come. I think what'll happen is they'll hit up panic button and be like, yeah, we got it. Because like fighters aren't intensive games, right? So they can dedicate more resources to just making it look pretty. It'll have to have a visual downgrade, but I imagine that they'll probably they'll find a way. They'll find a way. I think we're going to get Soul Calibur 6, and I think that'd be a huge deal, and I would buy the heck out of that on my Switch. Because right now, I'm not really thinking about buying it, but if it came to Switch, that's one of the few third-party games that I'm like, I definitely want this on my Switch. Because I want to be able to play on the go. You know? Yeah.
This is the second game I think Bandai Namco is like put a little like flag on where it's like, if you I don't know, we'll think about it. If you guys want it that bad, we'll put it on Switch. And we're just like, just put it on Switch. Don't make us
We're gonna buy it. Just take our money.
Exactly. It's like, just do it, man.
Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer at this point. If you put games on the Switch, people will buy them. Especially when they launch, at least not too long after they launch on Xbox One and PS4. Talking about more games coming to the Switch and being a success coming from My Nintendo News, Bethesda says that all their Nintendo Switch games have proved to be hugely popular.
That's amazing news.
Yeah.
That's very positive.
So Bethesda's Pete Hines recently spoke with IGN and told them the following. According to just I guess games in general. Talking about Skyrim, it was hugely popular. All the stuff that we did, I think folks enjoyed and appreciated all the stuff. Yeah, and we wanted to make sure to say right up front that this is a title we want to bring to Switch, and we think it's going to be an awesome experience. I wonder how much Skyrim has sold on the Switch.
Enough. I'm sure
surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they're sitting at headquarters just counting all their money.
Yeah, and it probably didn't have to sell gangbusters to turn like a profit for that port, considering obviously Skyrim is an old game. And they didn't have to make too many concessions. Kind of the one on Switch is kind of like a hybrid between the special edition and the more classic visual design for Skyrim, which I think is great. I think if I ever find Skyrim on Switch for like $30, I'd buy that for Switch.
Yeah, Friday, boys.
Yeah, but I don't currently have it, and I've never played through that game. But I've put plenty of hours into Skyrim. But it's mostly like playing through the beginning of the game like 3 or 4 times because I never actually have a copy consistently. So I'll still be I still look out for that game every once in a while. Like, oh, is there a sale coming? Because I don't necessarily want to pay $60 for a game that old. But obviously we got Doom Eternal coming pretty soon.
Amazing news.
On Switch, and again, I think I still need to play Doom 2016. Though
Same.
I probably won't play that on my Switch. I probably get it a lot cheaper on Steam when it's on sale. It was on sale one time, and then I didn't have any money, and I was like, no. But I have enough games to play. Spider-Man's coming out in a week, so I don't feel that compelled to buy any more games because I got enough on my plate as it is.
Bethesda's showing that it can be. It's like it was willing to put its foot in the Switch pool, and they're actually just being one of these big AAA third-party developers where they're just like, "Hey, Switch is cool with us. We're willing to support it." Does that mean we're going to get the next big Bethesda games like whatever Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever one it is, and coming up next, and Starlink and those other big games? Are they going to come to Switch? Who knows? Hopefully they can probably crank them out.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching, if you guys are familiar with Boogie2988, I'm a big fan of him, and I was watching a video, and he was talking about the Switch and talking about reasons why, hey, here's reasons why you should buy the Switch, and here are the games you would enjoy. If you don't enjoy this game, you wouldn't enjoy this game, but you should check it out, and the Switch is totally worth it. Some of his commentary I disagreed with. I actually really, really am very much against the comparison of Breath of the Wild and Skyrim. I think it's silly. I was like, oh, Breath of the Wild is kind of like Skyrim. Oh, because it's an open world game?
And you have a sword?
What?
No.
But I digress. And I think... And what I say this because he mentioned how Switch doesn't have the third-party support, right? Which I think is a little bit silly because it doesn't have the third-party support that PS4 and Xbox One has. But compared to the third-party support that like the most of Nintendo's consoles have had, like this is incredible. The fact that we're getting Bethesda games and consistently Bethesda games, like we're getting, Wolfenstein, we got Wolfenstein 2, we got Doom, we got Skyrim, we're getting Doom Eternal. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Fallout on Switch eventually. Can we get like a Fallout 3 New Vegas pack? Because I'd play the heck out of those games on my Switch. I love those games. I need to revisit New Vegas. I've been making a playthrough, and I haven't touched that game in a minute. Yeah. So I definitely
all
need
the
to do that.
games that Bethesda's actually tossed on the Switch and how well they've done. It makes you wonder why, like, developers even have the nerve to even mention, "Oh, we'll bring this game to the Switch if we think it's going to do well enough." It's like,
right.
Bethesda said. So.
Right. And so now the normal reaction is like, oh, why? If we can bring this to the Switch, we should, because we'll make money. And who's gonna say no to another source of revenue? And it's like, oh, you have to do is port the game, you know. And if not, you just have to get Panic Button to port the game. I wonder how much Panic Button has grown recently. Was hiring people.
I'm sure it's about time to like open up a even larger studio, add on like a whole branch full of little cubicles.
Yeah, they have a potential to grow that studio quite a bit in the next few years.
They just need to rebrand to the Switch Wizards.
Yeah, but then they would be limiting themselves. They don't want to do that. I think they do a Panic Button because everybody's like, we got to get it on the Switch. And everybody's panicking and like, bing, hit the button. And they're like, okay, it's ported now. Okay, next we got, the Sega Ages games have been delayed on Nintendo Switch. Those of you looking forward to Sega Ages, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Thunder Force 4 will sadly have to wait a few weeks. I know you were all wanting to play Sonic the Hedgehog after Sonic Mania released, because all you young chillins have never played the original Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm being facetious.
Fear not, it's not going to take too long.
Sega cranks out Sonic the Hedgehog 1 through 3 like Nintendo does with Mario 3 and 1. So it's okay.
I mean, and honestly, the original Sonic the Hedgehog is obviously the roughest because, you know, they were still figuring things out, and then they made improvements with the second and third games. I grew up on those games. We had a Sega Genesis growing up, so we had Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3. And I currently have a copy of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and I would love to get Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles and also Sonic Spinball. Because Sonic Spinball is also a blast.
Yeah, it is.
So I will definitely be picking up some of these Sonic classic Sonic games to put right next to Sonic Mania. I should probably beat Sonic Mania first, though, because they're not long games, you know. Especially Sonic Mania is like, you know, it's trying to be a classic Sonic game, so it might be a little bit longer, but not by much. Again, more classic games. Thank you very much. I didn't even know about this. I didn't even look at this until now. The Binding of Isaac Repentance has been announced.
I'm surprised you weren't freaking out about this.
If you were looking at my face maybe like 5 minutes ago, it lit up like this. Because I looked at it and I was like,
that could be anything with you, though. That could be anything.
It could be anything. But this is significant. For reference, on Steam, I have put 450 hours into Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Like Binding of Isaac, okay.
And then on my Switch, I've put in another like 200 hours. And honestly, that's pretty tame compared to other people's playthroughs. Pretty tame.
So I've never played Binding of Isaac, but I've seen lots of people play Binding of Isaac. I know it's bad. But did Binding of Isaac even end on a spot where they could even make a sequel, or is it just open?
They just keep going and going.
The game is so open-ended because it's a it's a roguelike, right? And so
it's like
the
Super
idea
Rage
is
game,
that,
isn't it?
Yeah, but the progression's really interesting because once you like beat it the first time, then you unlock more floors, so the game gets a little bit longer, and then you unlock certain items that you can use in playthroughs, and so beating that game is literally like 100%ing it and getting every achievement. That's beating Binding of Isaac. If you could ever beat it. That's the claim to fame. All the people like, I did it. I finally got all the achievements, you know? I'm not quite like that. I think it's a lot of fun. It gives me a challenge, especially when I first started playing it. There's a little bit of a learning curve, and it's pretty difficult. Though it does start off easier, and as you play it more, they ramp up the difficulty as you achieve certain milestones. So it's like, oh, it's getting too easy. And then they throw in like harder bosses. And then there's also like the hard mode, right? So if you're playing on normal and then you're like, oh no, I gotta, I'm too good at it now, then you go to the hard mode. And you have to play it on hard mode and complete every boss with every character. And do, complete a certain amount of floors within a certain amount of time to gain access to hidden floors with hidden bosses that are.
So it's pretty much like an evergreen type of game. You can just keep jumping in as much as you. Okay.
People will put thousands and thousands of hours into Binding of Isaac, and it's such a well executed game. Specifically the remake, because the original one was running on Flash, it's a little bit rough, but they got around to remaking it with like C+, and it runs beautifully. So we don't know if this. I don't anticipate this is going to be another just Binding of Isaac roguelike game. I don't anticipate it might be another spin-off because they're currently developing a spin-off called The Legend of Bumbo, and Bumbo is a character / item that you can get, a passive like upgrade that you can get in Rebirth. But it'd be interesting to see if they like evolved the gameplay. So that's the justification I could see for like a sequel. Yeah. And with the naming scheme, it might be a sequel. It might be another roguelike. Maybe they've added some new elements and new controls, which make it a little bit more intricate. I don't know.
Because I know this weekend, since it's PAX East, I remember on their Twitter, they actually said they just put the title and they were like PAX East. So maybe like today or this weekend, there's going to be some gameplay tossed up where they're talking more about it. So
yeah, it says here PAX West.
Or PAX West, I mean.
So I will be... I am definitely I'm anxious for this now. I didn't think there would be another game right now that I'd be anxious for, but like, I think I'm kind of tearing up. I'm kind of like, oh no, I want to cry because this is very, very exciting news. If you're a fan of Binding of Isaac, if you're not, I would say look into it. And Switch is a perfect fit for that game. I went ahead and I purchased the physical copy, $40, all the DLC, and then we, even after like they released the latest DLC, they had like booster packs, and so I think the game is finally done. Like they're done adding content finally after so many years that this game has been out. It's oh wow, there's so much content in that game. So Binding of Isaac, check it out. Binding of Isaac Repentance. Let's get some hashtags going on and get on the hype train because I'm so ready. Mega Man X is dependent on the success of Mega Man 11. Coming from NintendoEverything.com, Mega Man 11 is looking pretty good as it is, but they were talking about another Mega Man X game. And the fact that this is even being talked about is interesting, considering Mega Man 11 hasn't released yet. I'm not sure if I'll purchase Mega Man 11, but it looks like they're trying with Mega Man 11. And so maybe we could see another Mega Man X game. And look at the next headline with this too, because those two kind of go together. Capcom's goal with Mega Man 11 is to create a new benchmark for the next 10 years of Mega Man games. Yeah, so
10 years. Oof.
That's pretty cool. What do they mean by like benchmark? Like a new standard? Like, oh, now we don't want to go back to the old Mega Man games because Mega Man 11 is just that much better. I don't know how much has changed with Mega Man 11 other than its visuals. I'm glad they went ahead and they updated the visuals because with Mega Man 9 and 10, obviously were released like in like 2008 and 2010, I believe, respectively. But Mega Man 11, they were like, okay, I guess if we're gonna keep doing Mega Man, right? Then it needs to push forward.
Gotta get what's hip with the kids,
right? It needs to remain relevant. They're not reinventing the wheel so much, but they are moving the franchise forward, at least visually. I'll be interested in seeing how it's received. And then hopefully they can give Mega Man X that that same kind of treatment, and maybe even more so. Other than just like, oh, look, he's like an updated visual design. So we will have to see. I'm definitely still keeping my eye on Mega Man 11. And again, I'm all down for success of developers. So if they develop this game and it's a well-designed game, then please. This is something that is long overdue.
Mm-hmm.
And for our final story of the evening from NintendoLife.com, Telltale admits its game engine has let fans down in recent years.
Thank God they noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, isn't the final season of
Walking Dead
based on it's a new engine?
Yeah.
And you can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Like the visuals are so much cleaner and more modern. And I haven't gotten to playing through the first few seasons of The Walking Dead. I started playing the first season one time, and I like story-driven games where you have choices. I'm really into that. So I think once it comes to Switch, I think that might just give me the reason to play through these games finally.
I'd highly recommend playing through Walking Dead season 1. I played through that like years ago, and I made the mistake of playing through it on my living room TV at the moment I'm at my parents' house, and I was just playing through it, and like it gets really dark because it's The Walking Dead, and they're just like, "What the heck are you playing? Are you okay?" I'm just like, "No, I'm not okay."
Yeah, so I think I like the idea of being able to play this on the go, and maybe not even on the go, just in my hands, right?
Yeah,
because it's a story-driven game. Sometimes it's nice to just kind of like be
Make
with
a blanket
it yourself.
fort. Throw the covers over your head.
Almost like you're reading a book, right?
Yeah.
It's got that kind of same intimate sort of feel.
Yeah.
And so I can just sit there on the couch and I can go through these games.
Yeah.
I'll probably pick them up at some point if I don't play through them on my PC before then, because I have access. Either I bought them or I have access to my siblings' library on Steam to play through them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, go ahead.
Oh, I was just touching on them mentioning that they've noticed their quality's gone down. Even if you don't play Telltale games, everyone noticed there was an influx of Telltale games in the last like 3 years. Like they had Walking Dead, all the seasons of whatever, Batman, Minecraft story mode came out of nowhere, Game of Thrones, Wolf Among Us, and like Wolf Among Us season 2 just got announced too. So like there's just been and Tales from the Borderlands is also another one. So there was a lot of like Telltale games, and they are all running on the same graphical engine, no matter how long ago the first one came out to the next one. So it was like everyone was noticing how bad the engine was getting. So I'm glad they're finally updating that.
Yeah, and I like how they're like, we admit that we let you guys down. It wasn't just an apology. It was like, we let you down. We're sorry, and we're trying to make up for it by pushing forward what our engine looks like and can do.
And taking one game at a time instead of working on 3 things at once.
Yeah. Well, that leaves us with one last section. We're going to take a few minutes and just what have you guys been playing specifically on your Switch this week? Paul, if you want to, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I got the shortest list. All I've gotten a chance to play, it's been a busy week, but all I've gotten a chance to play is Semblance.
And what's Semblance?
You play as a little goob thing. That's
a
purple.
goob thing?
Yeah, a little goob thing. You're squishy.
Okay.
A lot of this game is like solving puzzles by shaping the environment around you. Everything is kind of what's the word they use? Like flexible, or I'm gonna stick with flexible because I can't think of a better word off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like dash at certain like platforms and kind of shape it to whatever you think will actually solve the problem. and it's a very creative game. It's a little confusing at first, because I wasn't quite sure what the story was.
Yeah.
You just like you start like running through the environment, and then you fly into a tree, and then it transports you to another world.
Ooh.
And then in that world, I found another tree that I was able to jump into. And then you just start like collecting dots. And then like slowly, there's like I want to call it like an infection going through this like very like malleable world that's turning everything like solid. And so you're just trying to combat that and return the world to its flexible nature.
Good.
But it's been a blast. Like it's not a long game, but it's a very like fun game. And every time I finally get around to solving a problem, I just feel like a genius.
Yeah.
There's been a couple puzzles so far that have been like real doozies. But yeah, it's I think like $10 on the eShop. So if you're looking for something to like burn for a couple hours, like Semblance, man.
Awesome. Yeah. And how about you, David? What have you been doing this week on your Switch?
I got like 3 games on there, but I can just go through them real quick. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate.
Another game I'd love to get and I can't afford right now. I can't.
So I didn't have the money for it, so I just went out and lifted for like 4 hours to afford to get that game. So that's how that happened. But yes, it's Monster Hunter. This game's been getting a lot of really weird thoughts from a lot of people because obviously World came out earlier this year, which is in some ways the superior game. And people that are just played World, since it was such an easy to ease into game compared to the other Monster Hunters.
Right.
People get that and they're like, oh, Monster Hunter on Switch. They get it and they're like, this is hard. What is this? And then everyone else is just like, yeah, man, that's Monster Hunter. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is classic
Hunter.
Monster Hunter gameplay. They keep advertising classic Monster Hunter gameplay with a twist, referring, of course, to the arts, which I'm not used to. But it does make it different enough to justify a purchase, and then in addition to the wealth of content in this.
There's so many.
This game has so much more content than Monster Hunter World. This
game is a perfect hybrid for me. So like I'm one of those people that I'm a casual Monster Hunter. I support the series wholeheartedly. I love it, but I have never gotten a G rank or like super high rank before. Yeah. And every time I get the game, my friends are like, "Are you gonna make it with us this time?" And I'm just like, "I don't know, man. I don't have 500 hours to put in this game like you do, so we'll see." But since this game is able to go on the go so perfectly and go onto my TV, I think I'll probably get farther into this one than I have with any other Monster Hunter. Because I got World, but I couldn't even play it because I was too busy. I didn't want to sit down in my house and grind in Monster Hunter and then not have it with me. This is better for sure. So that's a fun time. If you guys pick it up, you could probably do some hunting.
I will at one point.
I need hunting friends.
I definitely, I want to play that game.
I'll definitely play with you sometime. I don't know when. I got it, and I transferred my save data, and that's all the time I had this week to play it.
Yeah. And then the other game I had on my list was Flat Heroes. This game is really good if you like games like Super Meat Boy, Celeste, N++, any of those rage platformer precision type of games.
Okay.
So the art style is super simplistic. It's like literal minimalist. Your character is a cube, and you can do double jumps, and you can do like a pulse move where you can like reflect like lasers and bullets that are coming at you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And other than those games where you're going from point A to point B and don't die, this one is, hey, you're in a challenge room. We're gonna throw all this stuff at you. Don't die for as long as you can. And then it's like multiple worlds. Each one has like 10 like challenge rooms in it, and each one gets harder than the last one, and there's like a boss in every world. There's actually a demo on the eShop for Flat Heroes, which I would highly suggest you download. It's like multiplayer also, locally up to 4 players.
Okay.
So if you play the demo and you're not sucked in by the end of it, don't even bother. But if you play the demo, and it's a long demo too. It's maybe like 30 minutes long for what the game is. So try out the demo if you like the demo. Just buy the game. It's so good.
I skipped straight to just buying the game.
Oh, it's really good.
You had me at it's like Celeste.
Yeah, and then I've been playing Flipping Death, which is the same team Zoink Games who made Stick It to the Man, which is also on the eShop.
Okay.
So this one is you're playing as this girl named Penny, who pretty much just dies in the beginning of the game, and then she ends up getting positioned as Death's temp. So like Death goes on vacation, and now you're just basically doing basically work for ghosts in the underworld to pretty much help them pass over, or you're trying to like solve mysteries in like the ghost world, but you also have the ability to possess humans in the real world, and that basically flips the whole map around, and then you can go from like the ghost world to the regular world, and you can just possess people and do certain actions with different characters, and it's kind of like classic puzzle solving type of things where it's like, oh, you need to get to this house to get to this freezer in a basement to figure out how this like bride got killed by her groomsman or whatever. But you have to get across the lake, and to get across the lake, you have to paint this boat, but you have to get to the paint factory. So you got to like figure out how to manipulate different people to get different actions done. But the way it happens is like, it's so silly, and the writing is like spot on. It's like really good humor, and just look up a trailer for this game. Like the writing is hilarious. I love it, and I'm having a really good time with it. So I'm only on like the 3rd chapter so far, and like each chapter is at least like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what you're doing. So fun game, really fun time.
Well, good. As for me, I've had a little bit of ADD this week, and I've played a little bit of a lot of things. I've gone back and forth between Unholy Heights, Picross, Crash Bandicoot, Rocket League, Breath of the Wild. I'm just all over the place. Like on Crash Bandicoot, like I'm stuck on this one level, and I keep getting frustrated, and then quitting, and then going over to Picross, and then trying a puzzle, and then screwing it up, and then getting angry, and then going over to Unholy Heights, and then getting bored with Unholy Heights, and then going over to Breath of the Wild and realize it's like, I don't really feel like adventuring right now. So I've just been all over the place this week.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I really should go a little bit harder on Crash Bandicoot. But that's all I've been playing on my Switch this week. What has everybody else been playing on their Switch in the chat? Let us know in the comments. And also in our Discord, which you can find the link for our Discord in the description below. We are very active in there in having discussion. It's a great place to have that kind of discussion. Really quick, David/Conmen, if you want to reiterate where people can find you.
Yeah, for sure. You guys can find me on YouTube at ConMenRDW, where if you like anime conventions, cool events, geeky, nerdy stuff, video games, anime, and Nintendo-based stuff, for sure, subscribe to me and you will get all those awesome things. And then follow me on Twitter at Mario PRTY Animal, Mario Party Animal, and just Google ConMenRDW and you'll find me on social media handles also. So yeah.
Fantastic. A few housekeeping things. We got more content coming this week. I got my Smashing Tunes kind of review commentary on the new Smash Bros. Ultimate theme and comparing that to all the other themes, and then you get to find out which theme I like the best and which one I like the least and everything in between. Again, you can join us on Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at LoggyDoves. You can follow I was going to say Brandon. Brandon doesn't deserve it. But you can follow Brandon at Baba Babs. You can follow Paul at Gunnysaurus on Twitter. You can follow us collectively at the Break Room Arcade. This podcast does not only reside on YouTube, but also on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, and any services that are sourced from those. And if you use any of the services, make sure to give us a good rating. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would really, really help us out. I think outside of that, I think Brandon probably has another episode from his very, very, very casual playthrough of Breath of the Wild entitled Hyrule Diaries, coming probably on, I think, Wednesdays. I think he posts those on Wednesdays. Might post them a different day. I don't know. But we got a wealth of content coming, and it's picking up. And you're only going to get to see more. We are growing. What feels at a very rapid pace. It might seem a little slow, but the fact that we are moving at all is significant. And it's all thanks to you guys who show up week after week after week.
We love you.
And we love you. Again, and if you're not in the Discord, join our Discord, because I love Discord, and you should get into Discord because it's great.
Discord.
But
Pretty hype.
That is it for this week for the Nintendo Stuff podcast.
Oh.
So don't break your backs. Break in the games. But for now, break time's over.